Welcome to this module, which is part of the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology set of training modules. This module deals with how to use the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology to specify and compare theories and models. It's been prepared by myself, Mary Johnston, by Marta Marquez, and by Susan Mickey. The module consists of two videos. In this, the first video, we'll deal with why a theory is useful and using ontologies to specify theories and using ontologies to compare theories and models. In video 2, the module deals with linking theory to evidence, explaining findings using theory, and also using ontology to guide the development of theory-based interventions using the Theories and Techniques tool. For video 1, the learning objectives are, first of all, to describe why theories of behaviour change are useful. Secondly, to describe how we can improve the way we specify theories using computational ontologies. And thirdly, to describe how the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology can be used to compare theories and models. First of all, why are theories useful? Well, first of all, they explain findings. Secondly, they predict future outcomes. And thirdly, they help us to guide interventions. For example, if we have a finding that an intervention was successful in persuading people that reducing calories would improve health, but unsuccessful in changing behaviour, if we seek an explanation from social cognitive theory, we might suggest that this intervention was not successful in enhancing self-efficacy and therefore did not change behaviour, so it would allow us to change that finding. Secondly, if we, for example, we have an observation that people in two towns perceived an environmental threat similarly, but in town A they had a greater belief in their ability to cope with the threat than in town B, then if we were using protection motivation theory, we predict that there would be more behaviour change in town A than town B. So the theories helped us to go from an observation to a prediction. And thirdly, if, for example, we have a target behaviour, which is to increase vaccine uptake in a vaccine-hesitant population, then if we use protection motivation theory, that might guide the intervention to include behaviour change techniques to increase both threat appraisal and coping appraisal, as these are the proximal predictors of the behaviour within that theory. Theories are helpful in explaining variation in outcomes. They can explain what works compared with what, for what behaviours, how well, for how long, with whom, and what setting. They also explain the process of change, the mechanisms of action, the why. However, there are challenges in using theories of behaviour change. First of all, there are many theories. There are over 83 theories, over 700 constructs, as you'll see if you look in the book, The ABC of Behaviour Theories. Do all of these theories perform the job as well as the others? How do you choose a theory? Are they different? Are they similar? How do we make selections amongst these theories in order to advance? The theories have overlapping constructs. They explain the same phenomena. They look similar. Are they similar? Are they different? Are they defined differently? For example, the construct of control has been used in many, many ways. In 1996, Skinner published a paper showing that there were over 100 constructs of control. How do we know which are similar? How do we know which are different? Theories are often poorly specified. They have constructs that are not defined. They have relationships that are not specified. Sometimes these relationships may be predictive, and other times they are causal. That may not be clear. But perhaps the most serious problem is that they present with silos of evidence. The evidence is associated with the theory, so the evidence for theory A stays with theory A. The evidence for theory B stays with theory B. Whereas what we want to be able to do is to bring all of that evidence together so that we can get the fuller picture of what was known about behaviour change from the evidence we have. In sum, we need a method of specifying and comparing theories. So if we go on to think about how ontologies can be used to specify theories and models, here is an overview of the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology, which specifies the behaviour change intervention scenario. So on the bottom line, you see that the intervention content delivery influence mechanisms of action, which in turn influence the outcome behaviour. And that process is influenced by engagement in the intervention and the context, the population setting and events. And all of these things affect variations in outcomes of a behaviour change intervention. The Ontology-Based Modelling System, published by Hale et al. In 2020, identifies the three elements that need to be brought together. On the one hand, we have the theory database, and the theory database is linked directly to its evidence base. But we want that evidence base to be more generally available outside the specific theory, and we can do this by linking the theory database to the shared ontologies, and then it's possible to link the evidence base to the shared ontologies. In particular, in the behaviour change intervention scenario, we're looking to link the mechanisms of action. In the whole behaviour change intervention scenario, you can see that the mechanisms of action are part of that scenario. They're not part of the behaviour change intervention, but they're part of the scenario. Here's an example of a theory being represented ontologically. The theory here is social cognitive theory, and at the centre you can see behaviour change. And the direct influences on behaviour change are self-efficacy, the environment, and personal and cognitive factors. But you can also see that there are many distal elements, and they are identified in this representation of the theory. This is a representation of protection motivation theory. And here at the bottom you see behaviour defined as action or inhibition of action, which has a direct influence of protection motivation, and protection motivation is in turn influenced by coping appraisal and threat appraisal. And again, you can see many more distal predictors. This slide gives you an illustration of the mechanism of action ontology. Schematically, you can see the range of it. It has over 260 classes on 7 hierarchical levels. But you also see one piece of that ontology highlighted, showing the emotion process class and the subclasses of craving, surprise, fear, guilt, shame, and happiness. Having represented theories ontologically, it's then possible to compare theories and models in a way that wasn't possible in their original form. For example, it allows us to compare social cognitive theory and protection motivation theory. I've particularly selected the construct of self-efficacy in the two theories. And you can see how self-efficacy is proposed to act very differently in the two theories. So in social cognitive theory, self-efficacy has a direct effect on behaviour, whereas in protection motivation theory, self-efficacy works via coping appraisal to influence protection motivation to influence behaviour. This slide presents an example of a class in the mechanism of action ontology, the class belief. And here you can see that self-efficacy belief belongs to the class belief. But there are many other beliefs belong to that class: evaluative belief, perceived norm, belief about responsibility to act, and so on. You can see this in more detail on Open Science Framework at the address shown below. Here are the resources associated with the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology. There's websites, the Twitter account, publications, Open Science Framework details, GitHub, and in particular, the website showing the theory database illustrates the theory database in more detail. This video presents the first part of this module. The second part deals with how to use the Behaviour Change Intervention Ontology to apply theory to interventions.